Hello, my name is Dale Wilhite. I live in Mountain Village, Colorado, and this is a topic about State Farm insurance. A little bit of a warning I want to give you about dealing with a company like State Farm, and actually this probably applies to other insurance companies as well, like Allstate and Travelers. Uh, this deals with what can happen to you if you have a traffic accident and the insurance company decides they're not going to pay. So this video is going to be less than 10 minutes, but I'm going to give you an example of something that happened to me and something that you can use, this information you can use to hopefully not make the same mistake that I made or don't allow what happened to me happen to you. Back in October 2002, a place here just outside of Telluride, Colorado, known as Society Turn, uh, drove my car. It's a white Cadillac, old 1991 Cadillac, and come down the highway, starting to turn. I'm in the turn lane. Lady, very wealthy lady in a big SUV with a bunch of kids in the back, runs the stop sign and slams right into me. So I go pull over here. She just sits right there, and I come up to her and that, well, we need to exchange insurance and call the state troopers or whatever. And her attitude was, well, I don't have time for this. I got to go. But luckily, even though it didn't really matter in the long run, a deputy just happened to show up right afterwards. He claimed he didn't see the accident, even though it's very odd that he didn't see it. He looked at my damage, he looked at her damage, and he basically said, well, the damage to your car is not over 1,000, so I'm not going to write a report. And he pretty much let her go. No tickets of any kind that I know of. He didn't give her a ticket, as far as I know. Well, the damage to my car was $2,200. So we exchanged information. She left, and I left. And gave it to State Farm. Actually, State Farm contacted me first because that was her insurance company. And they use what's called a delay action, a delay tactic, I'll say. That's where they just take their sweet time. It goes into November, it goes into December, it goes into January, they're investigating. Well, they never investigated. They never looked at my car. And the fact that the police officer, the deputy, San Miguel, from the San Miguel Sheriff's Department, didn't write a report, that was one thing that they took into consideration. And they just up and decided, well, they're not going to pay. Around January, February that year, actually it was in March, that they decided, well, we're just not going to pay. But keep in mind, they did no investigation of any kind. They didn't look at my car. They didn't really consider anything. They sent me a bunch of letters, and all basically it said was that, well, since you weren't injured, since there was no report, police report, since there was no, basically that was it. We're just not going to pay it. So I tried to take him to court. But what I wanted to do was not to sue them for money. I wanted to have a judge force them to do an authentic investigation. And their office, of course, here in Colorado is up in Greeley, Colorado, which is northeast of Denver. And I'm over here in Telluride, which is on the western slope. Anyhow, judge said, no, the legislation had it set up to where you can't take them to court, you can't sue them. So basically, I got screwed. I lost $2,200. That woman never bothered to probably didn't even tell the truth about the accident because to her it was no big deal. You know, the damage to my car was nothing to her. She's a very wealthy lady. And of course she took off back to Missouri, last I heard. And I'm sure she got compensated for the little bit of damage on front of her SUV, big SUV. Then the deputy here was really pathetic because this was a beautiful woman, wealthy woman, so basically she gets away with it. I used to sell insurance for Gulf Life in Florida. I know how the insurance company works, and I'm going to tell you right now, they basically screw the poor and the middle class more than they will the wealthy. The wealthy have a way to fight back. The poor, the middle class, generally do not. That's how it works in the insurance company. That's how State Farm operates. They're no different. They're in it to make money. And here's an interesting note. When I did try to take him to court, guess what happened? I found out that half the lawyers up in Grand Junction, or it seemed like half the lawyers up there, work for State Farm. The way these insurance companies and banks like Wells Fargo and others, the way they protect themselves is by buying up law firms. They'll spend $1 million a year on a law firm. I don't mean that literally, but a lot of money to retain these lawyers in order that they don't have to pay $1,000 for an accident or something. They'd rather screw you and me, but they'll keep them nice and happy. And that's how it works. Even though I don't support Obama's Marxist health care bill, and I'm certainly no fan of the insurance company, it's still true, it is a crooked business. That's why I left Gulf Life, because it's a very crooked business. They're down there in Apalachicola, Florida one day, in a black neighborhood, black lady, about 90-something years old, no windows in her house, no wash machine, no dryer, water barely running. She's as dirt poor as they come. It's a shack in Apalachicola, Florida, that she's living in. And this idiot that's with me, my partner, found out she's going to get more money from her Social Security, I guess. Guess what? He tells her that she needs more life insurance. I'll pay for it for this much, which would have been December of something like 83 or 84. And you'll have to start paying for it in January. She has no idea what he's talking about. She's 90-something years old. She's almost blind and almost deaf. But that's how crooked they are. See, he goes after this poor lady. That's pretty much did it for me. I'm not going to be involved in that kind of evil. So I'm not a big fan of the insurance companies, no. And just like I'm not a fan of Obama, because I don't think his plan is any better. Especially with the government running in anything, it's kind of scary. It's even more scary. But the point of it is, when you get into an accident, you need to have pictures taken of the accident, of your car, vehicle, or whatever. And you better make sure you have a police report. It took me 6 months to get the state troopers down in Montrose to write a report, but that was pretty much it. And State Farm just kept sending me letters, we're not going to pay you a dime. We're not paying anything. And their attitude towards me was, screw you. That's how they operate. That's how they work. They will screw you over if they can. They're a business. They're in to make money. They're not going to pay anything if they don't have to. So you need to get on the internet. You need to learn all about these things and what to do in the event you're in an accident. And make sure they write that report. And if you have a deputy or a marshal or someone that says, well, I'm not going to write it, well, then you get on the telephone and you call a state trooper. And you tell them you want an accident report. Don't let the deputy or someone tell you, well, it's under $1,000, so screw you. No. You get that report. And you get a photo of that accident. And if it's the other person's fault, you make sure that you get all the evidence that you need to back it up. And don't let these insurance companies screw with you. And you also need to take a look at the law and how these insurance companies are protecting themselves, how they're buying these legislators off. And in Colorado, the insurance companies, like most of our legislators, have pretty much bought our Congress, our governors, pretty much bought them all off. Democrat or Republican, they've been bought off. And you also need to take a look and find out how many lawyers in your state, or even close by, have been work for the insurance companies, or even for the banks. I've had troubles with banks same way. Find out they own a lot of law firms. They work for them. That's the only thing I have to say. But you need to research it ahead of time, and you need to know what to do. But make sure you get that police report. Now, don't let them screw you over, because these insurance companies are not going to pay if they don't have to. They'll pay the wealthy off. But if you can't fight back, or if you're middle class, or if it's just not worth going to court over, they're going to screw you over. And then support people to get it. And it's the Democrats, just like the Republicans, that are all helping these insurance companies to do all this stuff. It isn't just the rich Republicans helping the rich insurance companies. No, it's the Democrats doing the very same thing. It's all about money. Give me my money so I can get in office, and I'll make sure I'll protect you. That's who the insurance company and the banks protectors are. It's the Congress. It's our legislators in both branches. Thank you for your time.